Yes, everyone, welcome back to 5 Things That We Learned. My name is Stephen Howson, and after a good night's sleep, I've decided that we'll do 5 things because we might have learned the occasional thing in what was a horrendously boring game of football. Number 1, record equaling win. So it's no secret that United have struggled at Old Trafford this season, but after knocking out Watford, Liverpool and now West Ham, United have now won their last 9 FA Cup home matches, matching the club's longest ever run in the competition from 1908 to 1912. Solskjaer could get his chance to go one better though if United are drawn again at home in the quarterfinals. Maybe we're due a trip on the road though. Maybe we're due a trip against lower league opposition. I wouldn't bet on it. Number 2, Donny's day to forget. So you got to feel a little bit for Donny Van de Beek, and I know a lot of people in the comments and that do. But he's not even coming off the bench most weeks, which I do think is a mistake on Solskjaer's part. If you want to prepare him for games, then games would be the best way to prepare him for games. And when he comes and gets a start, he gets a start against West Ham, who are giving him no space to operate. 3 defensive midfielders are completely locked in low block. It was very difficult for him to operate. But that being said, he was poor last night and he contributed very little as a number 10, as United really struggled to break down an extremely resolute and tough to beat West Ham side. There's talk that he wasn't Solskjaer's preferred midfield signing in the summer, and it still feels like he definitely doesn't trust him enough to make any sort of impact either off the bench or as a starter. But it was always going to be tough to compete with the likes of Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba. But he isn't doing enough to challenge them. When the opportunity knocks, like it did last night, you're given a start. Paul Pogba's injured. What more motivation do you need as a footballer to say, right then, this is my chance and I will do every single thing in my power to steal this opportunity. Every single thing that I can do to force my way into starting. You can only feel sorry for someone to a certain degree. You can't feel sorry for someone indefinitely, and you can't feel sorry for someone when they're not taking the opportunities that are handed to them on a plate like it has been last night with Donny. Now, I will admit it is never easy to just come in that one game, but when you look at some of the debutants that we've had, players that have come from the academy, not even been bought, not had the added sort of incentive to play you like a price tag of 40-odd million has, you see them, like Marcus Rashford as an example, when he made his debut, he stole that place. And then they played him the next week, and he went, guess what? You're not dropping me next week either. And by scoring 2 goals followed by 2 goals. That's what you've got to do. You've got to come in and you've got to impress. This is Manchester United. There's no games given out for free here. You have to go and take someone's spot. And for me, Donny didn't do that. Scott shines again. Now, someone who might be starting to do that is Scott McTominay. Now, he's in a rich vein of goal-scoring form, and he scores spectacular goals. Doesn't score tap-ins, scores bangers. He seems to have become one of Solskjaer's most reliable men in central midfield. In 30 games in all competitions this term, McTominay scored 7, which is the same number that he managed in his previous 84 appearances for United prior to the current campaign. 6 of McTominay's goals this season have come in home games, meaning that, maybe he's someone that does need to be playing more often at home where we found poor form. He's found the net in each of his last 3 at Old Trafford. He's now scored the winner in 2 United's 3 FA Cup wins this season, so let's hope he can continue this form into the next round. Scott seems to be emerging as a bit of an unlikely leader in this squad and amongst this player group. Long may it continue, because sometimes it's the less skillful, it's the less obvious, the less flary kind of players which really tell you where the standards lie in a football team. And there's a lot of talk that Scott McTominay is setting the standards. He's very vocal on the training ground and in the dressing room. And I think United need that. There's a washout of characters occurred over the last decade at Manchester United. And it's nice to see some of those returning. Ahmad no-show. So one of the most exciting things that could have happened last night didn't happen. And that was the inclusion of 18-year-old Amad Diallo in the matchday squad for the first time. And we all thought he was getting his debut, but it wasn't to be. He scored 3 goals and registered 3 assists in 2 games for United's under-23 since his £80 million move from Atalanta in January. Despite having 6 substitutions throughout the game that we could have used, Solskjaer opted to leave him on the bench in a game where a player like him might have actually come on and made a difference with how intense and exciting and just purely dynamic that he is as a footballer. Don't fear though, I'm pretty sure that his inclusion on the bench against West Ham is an indicator that even though that this was a slight rotated side from Solskjaer that he fielded in the FA Cup, perhaps indicating that the league is certainly his priority I do think that more opportunities will come. And if he starts putting in the kind of numbers on a more regular basis now in the under-23s, the noise to give Diallo some minutes will be absolutely deafening. And finally, it's another quarter-final. So amidst all how boring the game was and how difficult West Ham made it, and maybe even how uninspiring the performance was, despite it being a solid performance, the end result is United progress again in the FA Cup, and we've now made it 7 quarter-finals since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer took over as Manchester United manager. Now, clearly, a club like United, we don't celebrate quarter-finals, we don't celebrate semi-finals, we don't even celebrate losing in finals. Trophies are what matters. But it's an impressive record nonetheless, and it's certainly something that you can start to build upon. United are now 1 win away from a Wembley date, 3 wins away from the first piece of silverware under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and our first trophy since the Europa League in 2017. There are still the likes of Chelsea, Manchester City and Tottenham left in the competition. After fairly straightforward draws so far, there's still a lot of work for United to be done. But that's what I thought of last night's game. Let me know in the comments. Remember, this channel is supported by the absolute legends on Patreon. We're doing a Patreon podcast Q&A later on today, so anything you would like to ask, and if you would like to support this channel, then it'd be very much appreciated. Check the link in the description. Come and join the Patreon group. There's all sorts of extra content. Vlogs will be resuming as soon as COVID restrictions allow us to have more people in here than currently do for filming. And yeah, that's it. Check it out. I'll see you in the next one. Laters.